you think you're better at sales or marketing?
Sales.
Really?
I think sales is my strength. Andrew's the marketing genius.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you learn that from selling, from having to make a living.
Yeah, from having to make a living. Literally, if I didn't sell, I didn't eat.
So what makes you a good salesperson? Or what makes one a good salesperson?
What makes one? Because me, and people know me, I'm too well known now. I couldn't pull off face-to-face sales. But I think...
you can sell through a video. You can do a video and sell one on many.
Well, yes, I could. But it's all about having faith in the product that you sell, I think. When I used to sell TV advertising campaigns, everybody wanted to be on TV. They got to see their advert on TV. They used to get their families around and turn on the channel at the right time. And they got what they paid for. I think that the first thing is make sure you're not selling crap and make sure that you're selling a product that you have faith in. Even now, when Andrew and I push university.com and the real world, that school, the main way I sell it now, because there's no point in me going online saying I've made the best product ever. I do interviews with students every week. I do 10 interviews a day and just random people from all over the world telling me their success stories. Yeah. And I just listen to them. So they do the sales for me. But yeah, have a product you believe in and don't sell something that you wouldn't want yourself if you had enough money, you know? And that's the first step before you get to all the other hundreds of steps. Be confident, present yourself well, learn how to speak properly. A lot of people don't know how to speak properly. They think they do. They speak one language and they speak it badly. You know, learn how to speak properly. Learn how to, I guess, build a rapport with the people that you're sitting across from. You know, if you sit me with like an old millionaire from Monaco, you sit me with a guy from Luton from the streets, like I can build a rapport with basically anyone I come into contact with. It's very rare for me unless they're Chinese or Japanese or, you know, that I sit across with somebody and can't, you know, establish some type of, you know, commonality with them. Yeah. So that's very important in sales as well. But again, it depends what you're selling. You're seen as a bit of a gent, aren't you? People say you're a gentleman, and sometimes. So what would you say defines a gentleman? Would you describe yourself as a gent? I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I'm a bit old school. I'm a bit old school. Depends on what context that we're talking about. Depends if you're talking about dating, women, business, just generally. What does it mean to you to be a gentleman? I see people all the time in the comments. Tristan's a gent. He's a gentleman. To make sure that everybody you come into contact with leaves with a positive experience, I think I think that's the basis of being a good person. Yeah. But if you do that throughout your life, people will call you a gentleman. I guess that's what it means. But I've never described myself as one. So, and I've never thought of myself as one. So you're saying it to me now. I'm trying to think, well, why am I one? I don't really think I am. It's a perception that other people have put onto me. And if everyone in the world calls you a gentleman, then I guess you are. Because if everyone in the world calls you a bellend, you're a bellend, you know? Like, you must be. If everyone you come into contact with is like, oh, this guy's a bellend. For all of you at home. Unless it's just because it's in the press. Yeah. Well, unless it's in the press. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But that's the point. But if everyone you ever meet says you're unpleasant, then you are an unpleasant person because people's perception matters. So the fact that you're telling me that people see me as a gentleman, then I guess I think people do, definitely. I guess I am. Like couple of topics I want to talk about with you. We may agree, may disagree. Sure. So I know you own a lot of property, which is great because I'm massively into property as well. Yeah. So respect for that. And I believe Andrew said that you bought some stuff over here as well in Dubai, which have performed really well. And also UK. I want to get into the UK because I know you aren't a big fan of the UK. No, I'm not. But then they actually make Netflix series and blame Andrew on all the stabbings, despite the fact that all the stabbings are caused by, you know, the fact that they're not funding schools and youth programs properly, and the fact that they let immigrants in who are unchecked and some of them are criminals. They actually make Netflix series about Andrew. I don't like the UK. You know, the BBC once called me a human trafficker. I'm not a fan of England. Yeah, but also, you say you're not going to go back, but then we've got Bruv Party, bro. So. Oh, no. The thing is, that's when I would go. When I say I'm not going to go back. I mean just to live there under normal circumstances? I'd never go and live there. Yeah, I am going to go back. I've heard that England have some criminal case on me. I'm going to fly my ass in there and knock on the door to Bedfordshire Police, say, what do you idiots want? After I've won everything else. Fuck them. I'm going to go back to England. You know, I'm an English person. I'm going to go back to my home country. And I'm not going to let propaganda or you know, corrupt police officers trying to make a name for themselves or politicians who want to say my name in Parliament because they know it will go viral on X. It's their only chance to ever go viral. I'm not going to let those people scare me away from my birthright, which is the fact that I can travel in and out of the United Kingdom as and when I like as a British man. So, no, I'm never going to permanently move back unless somebody saves the UK. And that may well be Andrew in 4, 8, 12 years, a long time away. That may well be Andrew, but someone has to save England from itself before I'd ever consider living there. It's a toxic environment. I describe England as like a 10 out of 10, beautiful wife material girl, but she's infected with AIDS and herpes. Like, okay, yeah. I mean, you could see the appeal, but you don't want to go there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Not really, no. Because
Why? Like, where do you live in England?
I live in Buckinghamshire, Beaconsfield.
Is that London? No, that's not.
Just outside
London.
London.
Just outside of London.
Yeah.
Just outside of London. And you're a father.
Yeah.
And you have no concerns. If your wife says, "Oh, I'm going into central London today to go shopping," you don't think
No, I wouldn't. Oh yeah, definitely.
you wouldn't have it?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, in what universe can we be the most powerful country in the entire world, the greatest empire the world has ever seen, short 100 years later, get to a point where an Englishman cannot allow his wife and his child to go into London, what should be the greatest city in the world, to buy a few items and come home safely? You think there's a chance, and you probably do, God forbid, let's but you think there's a chance my wife might get stabbed if she buys a Rolex in London. If I sent my girlfriend to London to buy a Rolex with my daughter, I think there's a chance someone stabs my girlfriend and stabs my 3-year-old daughter. Like, that's a very real possibility in the UK these days. It really is. So you can't sell me England.
No, you didn't let me finish my sentence.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, firstly, it's not that I wouldn't let her. It's just that I don't think it would be safe and she wouldn't do it. But she also wouldn't go out in Dubai either. I don't think she'd go anywhere in a big city
But that's
by
perfectly
herself.
fair. But if she went out in Dubai, she would be perfectly safe.
Would she?
Absolutely.
But there's still crime in, there's still reasonable
There's
crime
a little
in
bit
Dubai.
of crime in Dubai because there's crime everywhere and you can't get
There
rid
is.
of it entirely because the
And the
nature of
crime
people.
rate is actually statistically dropping in England. I'm studying law and it's dropping. The media would make us think it's not because it sells stories and we're aware of it. But
Interesting.
actually, crime rate is dropping.
Well, it needs to drop a hell of a lot more.
It does, but it is dropping. There's
Yeah.
less crime than there's ever been in the UK. I don't see what... There seems to be a lot of... And it pisses me off. A lot of... I hate UK. I don't want you to be part of that, Tristan. I see people banging on at the moment about, we're leaving the UK. The UK is a shithole.
Yes.
And I'm just like, it really isn't.
What do you
It's
think
fantastic.
What do you think of Keir Starmer?
I respect Keir Starmer. I think that anybody that's in power... I said this to Andrew. Andrew was saying, if someone's done something you want to achieve, then you should respect them. And I said, well, don't you want to be Prime Minister? Do you respect Keir Starmer? I mean, if he was the head of CPS, he's Prime Minister of UK. By the way, I didn't say I'm a huge fan of Keir Starmer. I'm not saying I'm a huge fan.
But you are a huge fan of the UK.
I am a huge fan of the UK, and I think that Keir Starmer I'm not a huge fan, but I respect him. And I think to say, the UK is terrible and everything's bad and we need to leave this shithole, it's just totally stupid. I think that you create your own economy.
Well, I'm different to you in the way that I don't hate the UK. I actually love the UK. I love the UK. And just like I love my brother and I love my family members and I love my fans and supporters and I love people around the world, if my brother got really fat and out of shape, I'd say, you're a big fat fuck. Sort your life out because you look terrible.
Yeah.
You're going to die. Everything's going wrong. Sort it out. And that's love. That's not hate. So I think that perhaps you're misunderstanding my message about the UK.
Maybe not. I'm not having a go at you.
Because I love the UK. I actually love the UK so much. I think that London should be the greatest city in the world and the UK should be the greatest country in the world to live in terms of standards of living,
I get you.
healthcare, people, the wealth that the UK had that's been squandered, what they're doing with it. I'm totally against anybody who is a migrant getting anything free from the British government while they're homeless veterans on the streets. Sort out your veteran problem first before you help like random people turning up in boats getting free hotels rooms. I am super against so many of the things that the UK is doing. I think it needs to sort itself out, and that's love, not hate, because there's a bunch of countries in the world which are run absolutely terribly. I'm sure Lesotho isn't doing that well. However, I don't care about Lesotho. I've never been there. I'm not linked to that country. Whereas, my ancestors are from England. I'm a very proud Englishman. I love English history. English history isn't just English history. English history is world history.
Yeah.
Before America existed, English history was written in the United States. We founded the country. Canada, the entire world, Australia. English history is world history.